Before the relentless noise of the external world and chaotic expectations dictate your day, intentionally stop. In this sacred time, draw a deep, purposeful breath into the center of your being. Inhale slowly, pulling restorative air into the quietest chambers of your stomach. Hold it for a heartbeat, allowing pure oxygen to gather the anxious energy you unknowingly carry. Exhale, dropping the massive boulder of unspoken frustrations from your shoulders. Unclench your jaw, releasing the memory of swallowed boundaries kept for fragile peace. Soften your eyes, drop your shoulders. Notice how this intentional presence shifts the heavy pressure inside your nervous system. You are fundamentally, irrevocably safe here, fiercely recognized for your radiant essence and understood by your ancient soul. We are currently navigating a staggering, intensely complex, and deeply revealing energetic intersection. The date is April 19. This is absolutely not a day for casual observation, and it is certainly not a day for continuing the frantic, exhausting sprint of your old romantic patterns. This is a day of absolute, breathtaking, and terrifyingly beautiful grounding. On this highly specific, mathematically precise point in the cosmos, we are experiencing a massive, visceral shift in the energetic weather. Today, the sun, the glorious center of our universe, the planet of our core identity and vitality, leaves the fiery, rushed, impulsive kingdom of Aries and makes its magnificent, heavy, deliberate entrance into the grounded, luxurious, and completely unshakable earth of Taurus. And as the sun initiates this beautiful season of physical reality and self-worth, the heavy, disciplined conjunction of Mars and Saturn continues to hold the line in Aries, acting as a fierce, uncompromising bodyguard for your newly awakened standards. These are not just distant planets moving silently in the dark, cold void of space. These are literal energetic codes, massive physical software updates for your human experience being downloaded directly into your nervous system, your root chakra, and your heart space. They are completely, irrevocably rewriting your internal blueprint for love, breaking down the ancient illusions you have carried about rushing and chasing, and forcing you into a state of absolute, undeniable, physically grounded romantic luxury. Let us deeply, courageously examine what is actually happening within your spirit as the brilliant sun drops its anchor into the fertile, immovable soil of Taurus, while the Mars-Saturn conjunction fiercely protects your perimeter. For a very, very long time, you have been operating in a state of absolute, chronic, romantic survival mode because of your deep, beautifully tender heart, your profound capacity for empathy, and the unhealed wounds of scarcity you have carried for lifetimes. You have lived in a frantic, agonizing state of emotional urgency. You have taken your fiery, beautiful desires, your absolute need for deep connection, and you have forced them into a panicked sprint. You have gone to absolute war against your own nervous system, convincing yourself that if a connection was not moving at the speed of light, if it was not immediately consuming, rushing, and overwhelming, it meant that you were going to be abandoned. You have desperately, constantly allowed people to rush your physical boundaries, your emotional timeline, and your spiritual peace. You took your primal, vital, emotional life force, your beautiful capacity for raw, sensual devotion, and you locked it in a heavy, dark cycle of chasing potential, entirely abandoning your physical body to live in the anxious, spinning thoughts of your mind. You tolerated partners who gave you intense, blazing promises of the future, but who offered absolutely zero, tangible, physical, consistent effort in the present moment. You fell deeply, tragically into the devastating habit of accepting energetic breadcrumbs, convincing yourself that starvation was simply part of the romantic journey. You became fiercely addicted to the noble, exhausting, completely self-destructive crusade of proving your worth. You convinced yourself that if you just moved a little faster, if you accommodated their chaotic schedule, if you sacrificed your own deep need for physical rest and emotional security, you could finally secure the unconditional, stable love you so desperately craved. You confused the absolute exhaustion of this endless, unwinnable frantic chase with the feeling of profound, romantic passion. You thought that because your heart was constantly racing with anxiety, it must mean you were madly in love. You mistook the suffocating, terrifying absence of physical grounding for a grand, sweeping love story. You have been operating in a thick, heavy fog of self-betrayal, completely disconnected from the sacred vessel of your own physical body, walking carefully on a floor of sharp, unpredictable eggshells, entirely convinced that your ultimate lack of tangible standards would eventually be rewarded. You waited for the grand, cinematic moment where they would finally, magically slow down, recognize your profound exhaustion, and give you the luxurious, consistent, deeply anchored respect you never dared to demand in the physical world. But as the profound, transformative energy of this April 19 alignment peaks, as the sun makes its magnificent, heavy entrance into the kingdom of Taurus, the chaotic, exhausting fog of your romantic urgency is suddenly, violently, and beautifully burning away. This alignment is sparking a massive, irreversible spiritual awakening directly within your root and sacral chakras. It is the sudden, striking, highly physical realization of the sovereign creator who finally stops running, drops their anchor, and completely refuses to be moved by anything less than absolute, tangible reality. You are experiencing a literal, physical shockwave of somatic clarity. The heavy, intoxicating, deeply addictive illusion of the frantic, anxious lover is shattering into a million unrecoverable pieces. You are suddenly seeing the past, the toxic dynamics, the endless swallowing of your need for stability, and the agonizing lack of true, structured, physical partnership with a stark, almost blinding realism. You are looking at the people who gave you anxiety instead of assurance, the unbalanced connections that completely drained your physical vitality, and for the first time in your life, you do not feel the desperate, clawing urge to chase them or speed up your timeline to match their chaos. You do not feel the heavy, suffocating responsibility to build a fantasy in your mind, because the reality in front of you is so painfully barren. You are feeling the brilliant, sharp, deeply protective discipline of the Taurus sun waking up inside your actual bones, supported by the absolute, boundary-setting power of Mars and Saturn. You are finally, deeply, and profoundly understanding that your vital, brilliant love was never meant to be a chaotic sprint that destroys your nervous system. It was meant to be a slow, luxurious, deeply rooted tree that provides unshakable shelter. This is the absolute, permanent death of the scarcity mindset within your romantic blueprint. You are finally dropping the heavy, rusted mask of the endless chaser. You are taking your immense, beautiful, terrifying power back from the people who gladly, willingly kept you in a state of constant, panicked movement. You are finally realizing that true, sovereign love, the absolute highest manifestation of Taurus energy, requires the terrifying, breathtaking courage to demand absolute, physical consistency. It requires the bravery to look at a passionate but ungrounded connection and completely, coldly walk away, because it does not meet the basic, non-negotiable requirements of your tangible reality. And the universe is not just breaking your toxic, rushed patterns. It is immediately, beautifully rushing in to fortify your spirit with a tidal wave of unimaginable, fiercely protective, undeniable structural integrity. Because exactly as you drop the addiction to urgency, the skies open up and deliver the pure, undeniable, luxurious warmth of the Taurus sun, teaching you the profound magic of moving slowly. Listen to the sound of my voice and let these words sink into the deepest, most permanent layers of your subconscious mind. Taurus is doing the fierce, intensely necessary work of anchoring your self-worth entirely within your own physical being. While the Mars-Saturn conjunction stands guard at the door of your life, completely refusing entry to anyone who brings confusion, rushing, or inconsistency. For so long, you have operated in a state of energetic and emotional starvation. You have survived on words, on texts, on vague promises, telling yourself you are fine living without the deep, rich, tangible proof of devotion. The transformative frequency of April 19 is stepping powerfully into your energetic field, placing its warm, heavy, incredibly steady hands firmly on your shoulders, looking you dead in the eye and whispering a profound, ultimate truth directly into your soul. Your worth is absolute, inherent, and completely non-negotiable. You do not have to rush to earn it. You do not have to fight to prove it. True, authentic, profoundly aligned love is not supposed to be a diet of breadcrumbs. It is supposed to be an absolute, luxurious, overflowing banquet of consistent presence, physical touch, and undeniable safety. You are currently undergoing a radical, highly accelerated somatic and emotional upgrade. You are being entirely recalibrated to handle the intense, brilliant frequency of true, unfiltered, unapologetic slowness within a romantic partnership. You find yourself suddenly, inexplicably repulsed by the fast-talking, inconsistent, deeply unreliable dynamics that you use to tolerate and even mistake for chemistry. The idea of rushing into a physical connection, the idea of having to perform exhausting emotional gymnastics just to get a basic need met, suddenly feels profoundly insulting, completely draining, and entirely unnatural to your newly awakened, highly sovereign, deeply anchored spirit. You are looking at the confusing, chaotic communication you used to accept, and you are feeling an unshakable, elevated intolerance for anything less than a partner who possesses the profound, earthy discipline to match their words with absolute, undeniable, physical action. This is not you becoming stubborn. This is you becoming sovereign. This is you becoming a master of your own tangible reality. This is you stepping into the absolute, golden luxury of your own unapologetic standards. You are realizing that you do not want a partner who only brings the wild, destructive fire of potential. You want a partner who brings the heavy, fertile, completely reliable earth of actualized commitment. You want a connection that feels like resting in a massive, brilliantly lit, beautifully furnished, entirely indestructible home after a lifetime of surviving outside in a terrifying, violent, emotional hurricane. You are demanding, with the quiet, terrifying, unshakable confidence of a fully awakened soul, a love that is expansive, courageous, fiercely disciplined, completely reliable, physically present, incredibly sensual, and entirely free of rushing. And because you are finally demanding it, because you are no longer accepting the scraps of urgency, the universe is expanding your magnetism to an entirely unprecedented, mind-blowing level. You are quite literally becoming a walking, breathing, blazing magnet for high-vibrational, fully realized, securely attached, deeply structured, and luxurious love. You are calling in a partner who does not flinch when you require them to slow down. You are calling in an absolute equal, a sovereign builder for a sovereign builder, someone who has fought their own brutal internal battles, conquered their own deep fear of intimacy, and is now standing completely whole, capable of giving you the vast, expansive safety to breathe, relax your nervous system, and fully inhabit your body without ever wondering if they will suddenly disappear. Someone who looks at your fierce, profound depth and does not try to consume it in one greedy bite, but instead carefully, respectfully, takes their time to worship every single layer of your being. This energy is not just about romance, it is about the absolute convergence of all forms of your personal, sovereign power. As you clear the dense, heavy, suffocating addiction to urgency from your system, you are simultaneously unblocking massive, rushing rivers of absolute financial authority, unstoppable career momentum, and raw, grounded wealth that were waiting for you to simply, finally recognize your own massive, inherent value. You will notice over the next few days that opportunities, people, and serendipitous moments of sheer, undeniably perfect, structural alignment will start arriving at your doorstep with shocking, steady grace. A sudden urge to completely ignore a toxic, rushing text without a single drop of guilt. An unexpected breakthrough in how you fiercely protect your physical energy. A brilliant wave of raw, deeply grounded power that absolutely demands to be treated with the utmost luxury. You will feel a radiant, blazing, yet deeply controlled and soothing heat expanding in your chest. A deep, cellular, undeniable knowing that the universe is no longer teaching you through the agonizing pain of starvation. It is now teaching you through the incredible, ecstatic peace of absolute, overflowing abundance. You ask yourself, why did I ever accept the chaotic rushing when I was born to sit on a throne of undeniable, luxurious security? Why did I ever apologize for having massive, high standards when I had an entire ocean of divine, unshakable worth within my own physical vessel? Do not dare to judge the past versions of yourself for the chaos they endured. They did the absolute best they could with the unhealed wounds of unworthiness they carried. They were desperately, blindly trying to find love in a world that had incorrectly taught them that frantic urgency was the price of admission for deep connection. I want you to deeply, profoundly, and entirely forgive yourself right now. I want you to let the sound of my voice be the final, absolute, undeniable permission you need to completely release the heavy, exhausting burden of your rushed romantic history. Let your physical voice vibrate in the actual air around you. Do not just think this, actually speak it out loud, or scream it silently into the very center of your mind with the force of a cosmic supernova. I completely and unconditionally forgive myself for accepting breadcrumbs. I forgive myself for rushing my heart and my body to accommodate people who refuse to match my depth. I forgive myself for pouring my sacred, vital, life-giving energy into connections that offered absolutely no physical grounding. I forgive myself for believing I had to endure agonizing anxiety to be worthy of deep, romantic connection. I completely release the heavy, rusted chains of my past scarcity mindset. I completely sever all energetic cords to the people who needed me to stay frantic so they could avoid providing real consistency. I call all of my vital, brilliant, beautiful, sensual, and fiercely grounded energy back to my own root chakra and my own physical body. I am finally, deeply, and irrevocably open to the absolute abundance of safe, slow, extremely consistent, luxurious, and unconditionally sovereign love. Breathe that massive, world-altering declaration deeply into your cells. Feel the actual, physical, undeniable shift in the room around you. Feel the air become highly charged with absolute, unshakable solidity. Feel the chronic density, the anxiety, and the desperate neediness permanently leaving your energetic field. You have absolutely not lost a single ounce of your incredible potential by letting go of your past patterns, by walking away from the false, terrifying thrill of urgency, by stepping directly, bravely into the mature, brilliant, completely grounded earth of Taurus season, protected by the iron gates of Mars and Saturn. You have just freed up a massive, staggering amount of life force energy that is now rushing entirely into the physical, tangible manifestation of your absolute highest timeline. What you are experiencing right now, in this very specific, undeniable fraction of time as this April 19 transit reaches its absolute peak, is a profound, incredibly necessary, and wildly explosive personal and romantic grounding. You are not just shifting. You are actively crossing the burning bridge from the exhausted timeline of the anxious, starved chaser directly into the lush, fertile timeline of the unapologetic, sovereign, abundant receiver. You are leaving behind the barren wastelands of uncertainty and stepping onto the solid, fertile ground of absolute self-worth. The flames behind you are consuming the old versions of yourself who beg to be chosen. You will absolutely be tested in the coming weeks. The universe requires proof of your new frequency. The quiet ghosts of your old, urgency-seeking habits will likely try to drift back in through the cracks of your awareness. An ex or a toxic dynamic might suddenly reach out. It will often arrive as a confusing, rushing message, a demand for your immediate attention, hoping to trigger your fight-or-flight response, secretly hoping you will pick up that old, heavy mask and perform the exhausting dance of anxiety for them one last time. They will push your boundaries because they desperately want to see if the ungrounded, desperate version of you is still available for their careless consumption. They want to know if they can still access your brilliant light without having to offer you a single drop of tangible security. But when they do this, you are going to experience the ultimate, exhilarating, breathtaking victory of your brand new energetic frequency. You will look at the expectation for you to react. You will stare directly at the invitation to rush, and instead of your heart racing with panic, you will feel absolutely nothing but a calm, elevated, completely untouchable, deeply rooted wall of solid earth. You will see the toxic dynamic for exactly what it is. And for the first time in your entire life, you will not speed up to meet them. You will not over-explain or justify. You will simply breathe. You will stay deeply rooted in the magnificent reality you have carefully built for yourself. You will look at the rushing chaos, and you will simply, elegantly, and firmly stand completely still, because your peace is now an entire, complete, impenetrable fortress of stone and iron. You are no longer lowering the drawbridge for anyone who refuses to bring absolute, undeniable consistency directly to your door. Like this message, do not do it out of a passive, unconscious, scrolling habit, letting your thumb double-tap while your mind wanders. Instead, let the physical, deliberate action of tapping the screen be a heavy, grounded signature on your brand new, unbroken contract with the cosmos. Feel the glass beneath your fingertip. Let it be the exact moment you firmly, bravely, and physically declare to the universe that you are finally ready to step out of the frantic chaos of others and receive the immense abundance that comes from absolute, unapologetic stability. This is your seal of sovereignty. Share your journey, your release, and your deep, brilliant realizations in the comments below. Declare your brand new, unbreakable standard of consistency for the world to witness. Use your actual, physical words to carve your new reality into existence. Tell the universe exactly what kind of chaotic drama you are no longer available for, and exactly what kind of sovereign, structured, deeply respectful, and unshakable love you are actively calling in. Let the physical manifestation of your typed words act as an unbreakable, heavy, energetic anchor for your brilliant timeline of truth. When you type it out, you pull the intention from the ethereal realm and plant it firmly into the earth. There is an immense, undeniably magnetic, and deeply world-shifting power in actively witnessing each other's profound spiritual awakening into stability. We are finally realizing that the seemingly solitary, intensely painful path of finding our structured self is not a lonely journey at all. It is rather a massive, collective, earth-shaking roar of rapidly elevating conscious souls who are universally refusing to accept scraps anymore. your highly specific story, your exact, unfiltered words of raw liberation, and your terrifyingly beautiful vulnerability in the comments might be the precise vibrational key that someone else desperately needs to encounter today to finally stop abandoning their own peace. Your massive courage might be the exact frequency required to help them finally drop their own addiction to drama, release their ingrained fear of boredom, and step entirely into their own stable truth. Subscribe to this exact frequency of absolute, sovereign liberation. Keep your spirit strictly and beautifully tethered to this highly elevated, unapologetic, intensely grounded vibration as we continue to actively, bravely navigate these massive, paradigm-shifting cosmic waves together in the powerful, wildly stable months to come. Now, take one more intentional, incredibly deep, anchoring breath. Breathe in the crystal clear, utterly brilliant reality of this present, sacred moment. Let it physically fill your lungs to their absolute capacity. Fill your entire, magnificent human vessel with the vibrant, luxurious, golden energy of your completely unapologetic, beautifully disciplined, brand new beginning. Exhale the thin, pathetic, desperately tired echoes of your past anxiety. Blow those heavy, suffocating memories of chaotic lovers and frantic waiting away into the infinite cosmic ether, sending them permanently, irrevocably back to the absolute nothingness from which they originally came. You are profoundly, incredibly, and undeniably safe to be entirely at peace in your own body. You are completely, beautifully, and fiercely sovereign. You are wonderfully, miraculously, and loudly whole just as you are, entirely capable of demanding absolute consistency. The suffocating, exhausted era of chasing chaos is permanently over. The toxic illusion of unstable passion is dead. The expansive, abundantly reliable, and fiercely protected reality of your authentic, unshakable love story is finally here. Welcome home, beautiful soul, to the magnificent, blinding roar of your own indestructible greatness.